Here's Archie's Travels, Chapter 11, entitled Fat. It was easy to see why she was so fat, as she devoured the very large bacon sandwich, and she spoke through her too stuffed mouth. Lovely, I love pigs, she cackled, and Jack joined in as if it was the world's funniest joke, and to them it was. What are you looking at? She shouted at poor Archie in between mouthfuls of bacon, and he slowly walked back to his den. But he made sure that he straightened his back and he walked tall. He didn't care about their insults. He had suffered a lot worse in the past. When he walked past the pig pen, he looked to see Peter, and he was pleased to see him give a sly wink. He hadn't given up hope yet, thought Archie proudly. That night, Archie found it difficult to sleep, and once again Jack and his mistress were listening to the music, blaring out and drinking and smoking themselves silly. Archie looked at the stars in the sky, and he imagined himself to be somewhere else, somewhere safe and warm, and to feel loved. He'd seen other dogs in the past, and they seemed happy, and their owners were kind and loving. They were always stroking and petting them, and their coats were clean and shiny. He'd never had any of that, and it made him sad, and a big fat tear rolled onto his nose, and he just watched it passively, as it was joined by another and another. He didn't want to see anyone hurt ever again, and he was determined to do something about it. He was waiting for the right moment. Slowly the stars dimmed, and he was saved from his worries by sleep, and his last thoughts were of Peter, and his peace didn't last long, as he was woken up by a tin of water being thrown over him. "Get up, you scruffy mutt," she said, and she laughed maniacally, which was fast becoming her trademark. "At least she's brought some food for him," he thought, as he shrugged off the cold water. But she came back for more, and this time she didn't throw it over Archie. She was dressed in a bright purple dressing gown, and she had a lit cigarette hanging from the corner of her mouth. It wasn't a pretty sight. Archie didn't need to ask twice, and he could hear Jack marching over in his big Wellington boots, and he stood by the corner of the shed, and he gave Linda a quick kiss on the cheek, and they were a match made in hell. Jack wasn't sure how long she was going to stay, but he didn't want to find out. Once again they set off. Linda didn't wave, and she didn't seem interested in him at all. She just puffed on her cigarettes as if they were giving her life, and not the opposite. Archie knew that the only reason he had food and drink was to keep his strength up. Jack had no feelings for him, and he suspected the only feelings Jack had were for himself.